All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to Secrets of the Mind of a Man. But that's actually not the show we're on. Welcome to Love Coach Sessions Live. I'm your man KTJ, former men's counselor turned love coach, and this is the show where we get into it. We talk about dating, relationships, and love. And I like to go out and get my friends who that I don't always get to talk to, who are out here doing the work and having fun doing it. So with this show, I want people on here who know what they're talking about. There's a lot of talk out here in these internet streets, and some of these people don't know anything. They don't know what they're talking about. But I went out and got some friends who know what they're talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I want y'all to welcome my friends. Coach Nessa is here. Say hello, folks, to
Hey
Coach Nessa.
y'all, good night, y'all. Welcome in. I hope you guys are ready to have an entertaining show tonight. Just relax, sit back, and enjoy the show, y'all.
All right, Coach Nessa, tell them who you are and what you do.
I'm Coach Nessa. Healing Your Silence is really my tag name. And because many of us have been suffering in silence for so long, we've experienced a lot of toxic, unhealthy relationship, and we've learned from many of our mistakes and stuff like that. So now I've committed myself to helping others who are unable to recognize some of these warning signs and to be better from them. So that's something that I've committed myself to doing because I, one too, was in one of those relationships and had to learn from it as well too. So you're not in this alone. And that's just a little snapshot about what it is that I do.
All right. And I have my friend Dr. Latoya Cheathon. She's here. All right. Talk to the people. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and what kind of work you do.
Yeah, so I am Dr. Latoya Cheathon. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm a sex and relationship therapist. So I specialize in working with couples who are dealing with sex related concerns. And I'm from California originally, but I'm currently living in Atlanta. That's why I don't have a Atlanta accent because I'm from California. But I'm loving it out here and just loving connecting with couples virtually. So I see couples from 4 different states across the US, and really just we sit down and have those conversations that people feel uncomfortable having. We have those conversations, and I'm really happy to be able to support them.
All right. We got a little bit of feedback going on. Hold on a sec. Let me see. Make sure it's not on check. Okay. It just disappeared.
Okay.
All right. So let's get into it, you guys. I'm glad you guys are here. Look, I want y'all to drop your comments in the comment section. We got folks checking in. My man James Bush is in the building checking in. What's happening with you? All right, so let's get into this topic tonight, and I'm going to jump on with. We're going to start with I got a couple of videos to just kind of break the ice to get us talking and get the conversation moving here tonight. So, yeah, I'm gonna try to check this out.
Did you get this? Or we should go over it today? Oh yeah, cameras ready? Oh yeah, couple ready? Let's go. There we go. Cameras see you well. Now put some. Maybe they want to cut another thing. 1, 2, 4.
All right, so y'all, there's all kinds of relationships out here. A lot of different things that are going on out here in these streets, and so this one right here happens to be a couple that just got married. And did y'all see that face? We're gonna be very casual on here, so y'all could just chime in and just tell me what's your thoughts on what you just saw.
Well, just the initial look of it, without knowing a lot of things about the culture, she looks quite disgusted with him. She really looks disgusted with him, and it makes you wonder, like, why are you marrying this person if this is how you feel about the person, or if this is how this person make you feel? Like, if you're so disgusted with your partner, why would you even continue? What do you think tomorrow is going to look like? What do you think later on is going to look like? And I don't want to spoil anything or any, later thing that we might uncover in this, right? But just at the initial look of it, if you can't even kiss your partner, where are you guys going? Where's the affection? Where's the romance? Because it's headed for trouble if there's no romance in a relationship. Listen, I don't think that's how it's supposed to be looking, okay? Just saying.
There's definitely a problem with that face. What you think, Latoya?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, I'm looking at it and it's funny to watch. So I'm over here chuckling, but I'm like, I couldn't imagine what it would be like to feel that way in the moment of the first kiss. And also, like Coach Nessa says, I don't know much about the cultural piece of this, and I don't know if this is related to that. But I do wonder if maybe this has something to do with the people who are in the room. Maybe there's something going on in regards to maybe she feels uncomfortable showing up in that way, kissing, and her mom and dad are watching her kiss. I don't know. Maybe that could be it. But I know a lot of couples deal with a lot of shame associated with things that they've learned growing up about what you're not supposed to do and how you are supposed to show up and stuff like that. And so I'm wondering if that has anything to do with this.
Yeah. This face.
And that's where I was going as well too, because I'm like, it feels family, it feels like it's family. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that's how I would feel too. And it's not that I would be disgusted, but it's like I'm still my mommy's little girl, so even having that type of a kiss, that intimacy in front of your parents, you kind of feel ashamed, like you're not supposed to know what goes on behind closed doors, So
I don't know. I ain't buying that. I'm not buying that. That's a face of disgust. Like, I don't even want to kiss you. I loathe you. Look at that face right there. That
it looks like it. That's what I think too.
And look. She was like, "Woo! I'm glad that's over."
Yeah. I mean, and then like you said, if that is the case, if she really does feel the way that it looks like she feels to us, what does every day look like? Yeah. How much of a sense of obligation is it that I got to go do this with you? I got to be around you. I got to go get in the bed with you.
Yeah. Because there's going to be a lot more kissing than where that came from.
Right.
All right. Look. I saw this for the day, and I had to get on it. I don't know if y'all saw it out in these streets, but this is the video of Aaron Hall. You know what? They're playing live, so I think I can play this video without getting. Let me hit it from the top. Okay, we got Teddy Riley out here doing this thing. All right, look. What y'all think?
He is giving away all of the secrets of what's supposed to be going on behind the doors. Man, I just felt like I watched an entire porno just now.
I just felt like he ain't had none in a while.
Look.
It's giving that vibe to me like
but wait a minute. Here's what I gotta say for the man. That is 59-year-old Aaron Hall. Come on, somebody. That man is almost 60 years old. Look at that work.
Down like that.
Look at that work.
Mm-hmm.
That boy been doing some planking.
Right.
He been in the gym. He's fit. He's slim. Look, if you can move like that when you 59 years old, pushing 60,
You need to do it on the stage.
hey, look, I'm gonna give the guy some credit, but look, you can see they was giving them the work in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
they was giving them the work. They wasn't feeling it at all. It's my girl, Scorpion Lynn. I know her. She said pass. Yeah. So my girl Hood Therapist, she said mess. Yeah, they was not feeling none of this right here. None of this grind and planking.
It's just competing with the newer generation, and that's not what we're known for. And the thing about it is, I understand giving attention to the newer generation, the newer crowd, but the old school people still enjoy that old time bump and grind. Let's just keep it real. Like that's what we know you for. So we're still coming to look out to see that kind of stuff because that's what we're expecting. So when we get this, is like, yeah, that's not what we're here for. Okay. Yeah, that's not what we came here for. So I understand the past.
Yeah. Well, that's what some people came for. that's what some folks came for, because they know he's known as Mr. Nasty Man. That was his moniker back in the day. So that's how we get down. But all right, let's move on. Let's move on. This one is on these two folks. I did a whole show on these two not that long ago, and so J Hud hesitant to settle down with boyfriend Common. As y'all know, he's been through a string of situations, a string of relationships, and she is hesitant to settle down with him because of her situation. So let me just read what it said. Jennifer Hudson is hesitant to settle down with boyfriend Common. A source told Radar Online that hip-hop legend Common's past relationships with several celebrities and the daytime talk host's failed engagements have made her weary of committing to marriage. They claim that after her Jennifer Hudson's engagement went south with David Otunga, that guy was the WWF wrestler she was engaged to, who called it quits with the American Idol alum in November of 2017, which was how long ago?
Right. That was a long time ago.
Sheesh. Says Jennifer was adamant she would never marry. Oh, she was hurt. She was hurt that it just isn't in the cards for her. But then Common came into her life and swept her off her feet. Before his relationship with Jennifer Hudson, Common reportedly dated several women, including Erykah Badu, Serena Williams, Taraji P. Henson, Tiffany Haddish, and a bunch more. So here's what Common had to say. Common tells Jen, despite his past with so many famous women, he is in the relationship for keeps. But Jen felt that way when she was engaged for 9 years. She was engaged to that guy for 9 years. And she doesn't want to end up with a broken marriage and be back at square one. Talk to me, y'all. Tell me y'all thoughts on that.
Wow.
There's so much to say. Latoya, go ahead. Go ahead, Latoya. Because why would you sit in an engagement for 9 years? Why would you? You know what? Go ahead, Latoya, please.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't have much to say about that either, but that's the same thing that's coming to mind for me. 9 years? And then what happened after 9 years? Why would it be a 9-year engagement? And then what happened after 9 years that made him decide to walk away at that point? So I don't know. It sounds like she is definitely trying not to make the same mistakes that she's made in the past by trusting someone and believing someone and they end up walking away. So I understand her trying to protect her heart. So I don't, and then also with his history, I could also see why she's trying to protect her heart. I don't know.
But can you Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. There's so much things I'm thinking about, right? Because as we talk about relationship with clients as well too, and our own experience, right? A man knows what he wants. It doesn't take him that long to figure it out. So if a man is keeping you around with a 9-year engagement and nothing is progressing, there's no movement, there's no plans for marriage, it's clearly that's a placeholder. And when you take on that role of becoming a placeholder, why would he upgrade you if you're comfortable in that role? They know what they want. They don't need to stick around for that long period of time. And then now the trauma of that has not been healed.
Yeah.
So now the fear of being vulnerable again, the fear of loving again is up for grabs because the work did not get put in to do the healing part of things. Because when you've done the healing work and you've taken the time to find yourself again and do that part of the work, you're not afraid to love again. You're not afraid to try again because you understand how to look for certain things, and you're comfortable that you're not attached to a person, but you're attached to love itself, not the person.
Yeah. So, my thought is that you can't drive your car forward with the emergency brake on. Okay. You can't. Now, can you physically drive that car if the emergency brake is on? Yeah, you actually could, right? But what's going to happen to that car as you're smashing on the gas with your emergency brake on? It'll probably move, but it's going to create more damage than you even anticipated. So it's almost better for you not to don't even move the car. If you're not ready to take off the emergency brake, you're afraid, you're scared, you're all these things. Why are you in a relationship? You need to be sitting down with one of these people. You need to be on Dr. Latoya's couch. You need to be in Nessa's office or something, and having these conversations to work all that fear out, because that's all it is fear.
It's fear. And I just wonder, though, how much of it is legitimate fear or apprehension, maybe. I don't know enough about his history, but since he's been dating all of these celebrities, I'm sure that all the information is available. And I'm wondering, what are the patterns? How did he show up in each of those different relationships? Is she keeping an eye out for those kinds of patterns? Is she trying to make sure that she doesn't get caught in the same situation in that way? Or is she just proceeding with fear across the board with no real legitimate reason to be concerned?
Yeah.
I don't know enough about his situation, but I think, has he done his healing? That's what comes up for me in all of this too.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he has. It sounds like he's ready to go forward, but he has. Look, I remember when he dated all those other people, including Angela Rye. I remember he dated all those other people, and he was all in on all of them before he broke up with them.
Yeah.
He was like, I remember he was dating Tiffany Haddish, and he was like, she is absolutely amazing, and he was doing all these romantic things, and she was like, he's the best boyfriend I ever had.
Yeah.
And then he broke up with her, and she was crushed.
And that is my point, and that is my concern, right? Because he is showing the same patterns then. Now, if you had told me he was with all these other women and he was not trying to start a real relationship or not wanting to proceed to marriage, and he was, maybe a player or something like that, getting caught cheating, those kinds of things. And then now all of a sudden he's looking into trying to propose to J Hud and he wants to be with her, then that's a change. But if he always shows up like this in all relationships, and then he breaks up with them, why would she believe him? Even if she was healed, why would she fully be able to walk into this fully believing in him if it's the same thing that he always shows?
Yes. Because
that could be his unhealed parts,
There's definitely something there.
He might have commitment issues and just want to pass time. So, hey.
Yeah. But time will tell. Time always tells. I have this saying: time never lies. People lie, but time never lies. If you give time long enough, time, it will tell you what you have. And time is undefeated.
Yeah.
Undefeated. All right, who we got? We got Wayne Brady out here. Wayne Brady talks about the DMs he's been receiving ever since coming out as pansexual.
You know, so I've never gotten eggplants in my inbox. It's shocking. Much respect to women. I'm sorry. I know how you feel when a random guy just goes, "Hey, I know I like you so much. I'm gonna show you my junk." It's like, no, bro, that isn't necessarily the calling card that I want. But I'm flattered. Thank you. And so I've gotten attention from everybody, and that's cool because, hey, I love everybody, so that's cool that everybody can love on me. So I'm single right now.
Ask you, dating life. I know them DMs are popping now. Something, give us something. You know, this is Eve.
Well, I'm going to talk about it in my monologue. Yeah, well, you know what? Yes, my DMs are popping, and it's amazing. You know, so I've never gotten eggplants.
All right. So talk to me, y'all. Tell me your thoughts on Wayne Brady and this whole pansexual idea.
Coach Nessa looks like this is the first time she saw that. Are you surprised?
It is.
Oh,
It is.
Oh, you didn't know. Well, hold on. Before I let y'all go, let me give for this. There might be some viewers here who don't know what exactly pansexual is. All right. So pansexual is sexual, romantic, or emotional attraction towards people of all genders or regardless of their sex or gender identity. Pansexual people might refer to themselves as gender blind, asserting that gender and sex are not determining factors in their romantic or sexual attraction to others. Go ahead, Nessa. What you got to say?
And he's wondering why somebody's sending him their junk. Like, I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, but you're flattered. You're so flattered by it. Like, oh, I'm not on that time, but you know, yes, you are.
Yes, you
Yes, you are. Like, yes, you are. You like it. And yeah, you could have kept that to yourself. You like it. I'm sorry. That's what I have to say. Because I actually typed it in. I was like, yeah, I need to see what this is. And okay, I got it. Yes, you are. You're pretty comfortable with it. You actually like it. And you have quite a few to choose from. You didn't know you was going to get the attention that you're receiving. That's why you're saying that. But you like it. Go ahead, LaToya.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm getting out of it too, is that it seems like he is flattered. He does like it. And I think that that coming out can be an experience that you don't really know what kind of a response or reaction you're going to get. And so for him to get the reaction of now he's getting all these people sliding into his DMs, he probably was pretty surprised about that, but it does look like he's happy about it.
Yeah, yeah. He wasn't anticipating turning into a woman and getting the woman treatment. He didn't see that coming. I heard him when he first came out with that and says, he doesn't have any. He doesn't have any kind of division between like the women and the men. He says I've never been in a sexual relationship with a man, but he made it sound like I'm not opposed to it. That's what he made it sound like, and so it just went from there. And so Wayne Brady out here with his golden suit and his tight fishnet looking shirt is surprised as to what he's getting in his inbox. Surprise, surprise.
You know, we're well trained. Us as coaches, right? We are well trained to hear what people are not saying. We know better.
Mm-hmm.
We know what you're not saying. Okay.
Yeah.
We know what you're not saying. That's what we're very equipped to be able to detect what you're not saying. It's not about what you say, it's what you don't say. And we listen to that very well. So we'll give you a pass, Okay.
Yeah. Well, listen, as long as he, what they say, he's living his truth. He's out here telling people what he's into, which makes me wonder what came up that caused him to announce this. Because I mean, it's not like this is something new in Hollywood. I mean, this is how they get down. This is, he's in Hollywood, and sometimes some of these parts to get a part, some of these people have done some strange things to get some of these opportunities, and so that's kind of how it is. But I wonder, Latoya, maybe you can answer this, because this is a segue into our next our next conversation here. He comes. Why do you think he would come out with this conversation to announce his shift in sexuality?
I don't know, but I'll give you some ideas.
Okay.
I think that maybe he could have had some sort of an encounter with somebody. Maybe he wants to put it out there before someone else does. He may have been doing some, deep dive self-awareness and really just learning more about himself. And maybe he has gotten to a point where he has accepted and acknowledged that about himself, his sexuality. And so now he wants to tell people. Maybe he's already known, and maybe he's just kept it to himself, had it kind of hidden, not really felt like he was ready to disclose that part of himself to others. But maybe he has had a shift in his perspective on that. And maybe now he sees the value in putting it out there and letting people know what's going on. Or maybe he wanted to get some eggplants in his DMs. I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
Could be.
I heard blackmail too. That's it. It sounds like, you know what? I'm gonna beat you at this. Let me put it out there before you do. You could hear like, yeah, let me just put it out there before you do. I got this.
And I just wonder, is this the only video? This is what I saw too. I saw this one, but I'm just wondering, it seems like there would have been something that happened before where he actually disclosed it. Now she's just talking about it with him, trying to, kind of follow up. But I wonder how it came out in the first place. Was he on a show? Did he write it in an article? I mean, did someone ask him publicly and he just responded?
Yeah, I saw him when he said it. And I'm trying to remember what he was on when he came out with that. I want to say he was I want to say he was on some show. I can't remember, but it wasn't that long ago. Maybe like last year or so. Okay. So it wasn't that long ago. But I agree. Something provoked that guy to come out and talk about his private sexual desires, and because that's not something that people would talk about, especially if you got a presence already, because you don't know what the backlash of that is, and do you really want? Because now he's getting eggplants. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure, but maybe that's not what he was thinking that was going to happen. Yeah. So it's wild out here, but so I have something. I'm trying to see if I can pull this up. Well, I'll get to it later. All right. So one of the things, you guys, the topic of this show is what's happening in the world of relationships. And I will go first. And I'd like for you guys to also kind of bring up the things that you're seeing in the world of relationships, things that may be changing, things that you're having conversations with clients about, or all of that. Okay, so y'all know, I live here in Atlanta, and I've been having conversations with the guys because I want to know, like, what do the men want in here in these dating streets? What are they looking for? How, will they come to live events? Y'all know I host live events here in Atlanta. And I have 3 questions that I ask the men that I meet, that I get in these conversations with. Are you single? Are you unattached? And do you look? I brought the balloons. And do you only date women? Okay. I usually get 2 out of 3. And I'm noticing a lot more men are getting stuck on that last question. Do you only date women? And it's starting to really be concerning because the more I ask this question, I'm getting more men who not only do they get stuck on that last question, they'll say something like, I don't date women. Don't date women. Okay. I'll get that answer, or I'll also get the answer of I don't. They won't even come out and say the G word, because these I won't say it because these these YouTube streets and they sensitive around here sometimes. But same sex loving men, they won't come out and say I am a same sex lover, but he date men, and I find that interesting. I find that a little concerning for our ladies. One guy told me that he has a girl that he sees Tuesday through Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, he goes and sees her. But on the weekends, he has a man who comes and sees him. and it's wild like that. And so what are y'all thoughts on this? On these what I'm seeing is, and look, I could be a little bit biased because I'm here in Atlanta. I mean, that could be part of it, that this is a larger issue for our heterosexual women. But what are y'all thoughts on that? Latoya, you go ahead.
I feel like this is not news to me. I remember people talking about down low situations years and years, decades ago, happening in Atlanta, and that there were a lot of men who, specifically Black men, who were living the life of a heterosexual man, not being open with the fact that they're also sleeping with men. So I'm not surprised about it at all. I don't know that there's been a shift or an increase as much as maybe there's been an opening of, an increase in being open about it. Like now people are a little bit more open to acknowledge or to say, like Wayne Brady, I identify as this, So I think that I think that's where the shift has come in the expression of what is, as well as in a lot of ways the acceptance of what is, as opposed to feeling like they have to stay hidden. But I'm not surprised that there's still people out there being hidden.
Yeah. Nessa?
I would agree that you're hearing it more now. Like, it's so common. But why hide, from being identified as who you are? Because here's what it is now. If you're not identified as that, because you don't have to dress up, there's, the other side to it. So you don't have to dress up to play the role. But if you're identified as such, it makes it easier to engage in your community. But you're hiding behind that and creating feminist gender war. And that's not fair, because here we go putting man against woman when in reality, you just don't like women. And it's okay, but you don't have to go on the other side to degrade them, devalue them, or disrespect them. You can actually stay in a community, but then you're also afraid to be identified with the community that you actually enjoy.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, and it's unfair.
Yeah, none of these guys would be, if I asked them, none of these guys would tell me that they were in the LGBT community. Like they wouldn't say that. And this is something that's come up. Some of them say, yes, I don't look, y'all catch how I asked that question. Do you only date women? That's either a yes or a no, right? So some of these guys will say that I date, they'll say something like, but I haven't dated a man in a while. I just stay to myself and go to work and come home. And it's like they're trying to soften it for me a little bit. But you already told me that you don't date women. So, we're all the way there.
Yeah. And I imagine that they're trying to soften it for themselves too. It sounds like they're not in a space where they identify as being part of the LGBTQ community. And so the way it all works is that, people get to self-identify. And so if they say, I do not identify as blank, then they get to not identify as that. Even if their actions are saying that that it seems like that's what they are, they still, by nature of it all, just they get to say that that's not how I identify, until they can get to a point where they do acknowledge that they do identify a certain way and they're able to connect the dots of, okay, I'm sleeping with men. So technically that means, you know what I mean? Until they get there, they're not even admitting it to themselves. And so they're not in a space where they're going to probably be able to admit it to you either, or anybody else, like the woman. In that situation.
Yeah, and I was just going to mention that. And there's a woman in that situation I just named, and I'm looking at this guy, and I'm like, ma'am, do you really not know that this guy is same-sex loving? I mean, like I can look at this guy, I can listen to him talk, and like the radar is going off, the bells and whistles are going off plainly, but then we're out here and it's a new world, and maybe she is okay with him being a man who sleeps with other men, and maybe they're just not having the conversation about that because she's getting what she wants from it.
I was just going to add to that. I see Vicky made a really good point in the comments section.
Yeah,
but I was going to add to I was going to add to what you said just now. It's that sometimes it's like, I'd rather take crumbs. I'd rather take a piece of you than none of you. So it's like, if I can't, I'd rather take a little bit. If I don't get anything at all, just give me something. And it's self-worth, value, all these wounds and stuff that we have to kind of tap into to ask ourselves, why are we accepting these things? Why is it okay? What type of lack are we accepting? Why we're in situations like this? And are we really okay with it? Because that's also self-sabotage. So why are we accepting things like this if we're truly not okay with it?
Facts. All right. Vicky says that's very concerning. It's like they are experimented, and it makes it very uncomfortable in the world of dating for you to know whom you are dating. My question is, did he tell his dating partner that he's dating men? He didn't tell me he did tell her. If she can't see that feminine energy that he got going on, she's blind. Because this guy, like I was surprised that he told me he was sleeping with women. I mean, I was very surprised because he presents to me, as pretty feminine. But then again, like I said, maybe she knows and maybe she likes the thing that he do on a Tuesday night so well that she's willing to overlook the obvious, which is very dangerous, can be dangerous.
Some needs he's meeting some needs for her. There's some needs that he's meeting, whether it's some neglect, abandonment issues, or, whatever it is, he's satisfying something. It might be financial, it might be something, but he's doing something for her to accept that, because there's no way you can't, if you're able to see it, there's no way she don't see that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it also reminds me of how a lot of women will date someone even though they know that they're married or that they're in a relationship, and so they'll take what they can get. I think there's a whole song about that, isn't there, where they talk about like certain days are my days. You guys know what song I'm talking about?
Tuesday through Thursday.
Yeah. And I think that that's what it is. I think a lot of people are taking what they can get, and it's meeting some of their needs, and it's meeting their needs on some days and stuff like that. And sometimes that can be enough for them to get by, but they really are sacrificing. Oftentimes they're sacrificing what they really want. Because what they really want, what a lot of people really want, I can't say what everybody really wants, but a lot of people really want a relationship where there's a person who is their person, right? Rather than a person who they're sharing with other people. Everybody doesn't feel like that, but I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
All right. Dr. Latoya, how about yours? What's happening in the world of relationships?
Yeah, well, actually, I'll stay on the same topic. Something that I've been getting a lot of since the pandemic has been couples who want to open their relationships.
Open relationships. Okay.
Yes. It's been very, very common that I've heard a lot about it. Not to say that people did not have open relationships before the pandemic. Obviously, they did. But just like we were talking about with other aspects of sexuality, people are becoming more open with talking about it, with acknowledging it, with shifting into lifestyles that might be unconventional. And so I have helped quite a few couples in navigating this. And what I tell them to start when they first come in and they say, hey, this is what we're considering, I really help them to check the health of their relationship. Because what I believe is that you don't want to bring additional people into a relationship when there's already a lot of instability and crisis and chaos and insecurities and things like that in the relationship. A lot of times people think that if we get another person in here, then we'll be able to fix the problems that are going on because, hey, this other person's going to, be able to provide some of our needs and things like that. But oftentimes if the relationship is already unsteady, bringing that other person in just really incites a lot of things like jealousy, and it could ultimately lead to a couple breaking up. I know in my personal life, people who I've met over the years who have invited someone else into their bedroom, and then one of their partners has left with the other person.
Yeah, that happens.
And it happens, right? And so I really talk to my couples about that, the importance of making sure that you get your foundation right, and then evaluate if you want to bring someone else into something that's more healthy. But yeah, that's been something that's big.
Yeah. I like what's interesting about what you just said was you don't tell them to not do it. You give them the parameters, let them know like what to expect, and what could happen if you do this. But you don't necessarily tell them don't do it.
Nope, I don't. No, as a therapist, that is not my role. I don't tell people to do or not do anything, but I do want to bring awareness to them of the potential consequences and the concerns that you might want to look out for, and try to bring in some alternative ways of looking at things. Because in those situations, honestly, a lot of the times it's one person who would like to bring in someone else and another person who's a little hesitant to do it or completely outright, no, I don't want to do that. And it's not necessarily gender specific. I have women who say that they, in a heterosexual relationship, women who say that they want to bring another person in, whether that be another woman or a man, into the relationship. And sometimes the men are like, the partner's like, I don't want you to bring in anybody else. I just want you for myself.
Yeah. It'd be like that TV show. What was that? Chasing Polyamory or something with the lady with the two husbands looking for she was all over all of the social media, and on top of that, it's a TV show, and she was looking for a third at some point in time, and so like, yeah.
There's a new
Um,
show that just came out, a new reality show called Couple to Thruple, and it's
Couple
the
to
same
Thruple.
thing. It's couples. It's a reality show, so it's like kind of
Yeah.
like a dating show. The couples
Yeah.
come on, and then they the purpose of the time is that they meet with a sex therapist, and they meet with other people, and they're trying to assess: do we want to open up our relationship or do we not? And by the end of the show, they have to decide to change into a throuple or to stay as a couple.
Yeah. You know, I had a guy that I was that I was working with, and he said that he had 2 girlfriends. They were all in their like mid-20s, and he said, well, you know what, people were asking him like, how does he make this all work? And man, you did it. You got every man's fantasy. And he was like, well, I mean, it's not what you think it is. And he said, if you think it's difficult to satisfy one woman, imagine trying to satisfy 2. And he says, I also have to satisfy them with their sex drive. And he's like thinking towards the future, like look, I'm barely hanging on right now. He said, I'm barely hanging on right now, and I'm 27 years old. I can't even imagine, in let's say 10 years, if this continues. He's like, I don't know if I'll be able to keep up with this, because I'm barely keeping up now, and people don't really think of all of those little things that that you'll have to confront once you say yes to this dream, this fantasy. Some fantasies need to stay in your head. Yeah. What you think, Nessa? What you think about all this?
I could definitely agree with some of the fantasy, but I had a conversation with a client about something like this, and like you said, you can't tell them what to do, right? But one thing I took away from that conversation was that once y'all are not in a relationship, it's okay. If everyone involved is not in a relationship and there's no relationship involved, go for it. Because when feelings start to get involved, it makes a mess, because there's a lot of planning that goes into these kind of things. You're going to have to know your day. Like, it was just so much. The conversation was so overwhelming that I had to try my best to keep a straight face, but I had to kind of wrap it up really quickly, because I was very uncomfortable with that, because I think I was too personally invested in the fact that it's so much work and planning. And I understand where they were trying to help me to understand about it. And I'm okay to say I'm always ready to put on my learning gears and learn, of course, right? And they were letting me know that it's one household, it's one type of bills, it's financially healthy because they're saving money. So instead of paying the rent and the bills in this house and that house, they're doing it in one house. So bringing everyone under one umbrella. And if one already knows about the other, what's the point of keeping them a secret if you already know about the other person? Let's just live together and make it easy. And then they talk about bringing in the kids. So I'm like, oh my goodness, you guys are positioning the kids, training the kids for a next generation to continue this behavior on. So it was a lot much for me, but as you can tell, I did learn a lot, right? I did learn something back from it. Financially, I guess I see how it works financially, but emotionally though, are you really emotionally okay with this?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm different. I want my person to be just my person. It's just us. Like, no, I don't have the vacancy for that. No, I get attached too easy, and I love really hardly, and I don't know how to do anything else. So unfortunately, that's a pass for me. If I should insert my personal feelings in this, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's what it's all about, right? Is that people need to make the decision for themselves of what's right for them, because people are just going to like different things. And in a lot of ways, just as we were talking about the identity of someone's sexual identity, it's the same with whether they identify as monogamous or whether they identify as poly. And so, a person who identifies as monogamous is oftentimes going to look at a person who is wanting to be poly and be like, why would you ever do that? I would never want to do that. Just like you're saying, that's how I am too. I'm monogamous, right? So I want to be with one person, and I want my one person to be my one person. Right. I don't want anyone else involved, but there's a lot of people who don't feel like that. And so they are more open to having multiple people and to bringing them even with the kids and stuff like that. But I feel like there's a lot of benefits, like you said, as far as it takes us back to a more community focused space. Back in the day and in other places, in other countries and things like that, people would live in communities. So you had a lot of people, the village, to take care of the kids, right? It wasn't just the responsibility of one couple to take care of everything. You had the village to help with the financial stuff, right? And so now to go into a space where we're all isolated and it's just a couple in a house by themselves and they have to figure it all out with the kids, sometimes it can get overwhelming and people put a lot of pressure on their partner to help more and stuff like that. So having an additional person, it has its benefits, but you got to be down with it. If you're not down with it, then, it's not for you.
Yeah. The down with it part is what I see as the problem. and just the problem is you have to be willing to have the conversations. And most people aren't willing to have those hard conversations in order to really make something like that work. I mean, if you're bringing somebody in, you got to be comfortable with a lot of talking, because you got to make sure you're clear. You got to make sure they're clear, and then y'all together got to make sure that they are clear, and that everybody's clear, and that nobody gets their feelings hurt because they signed up for something that they didn't fully understand, and it wasn't fully articulate. And most people who want to do this really don't want to do that much talking.
Communication is going to be their best friend. Like you have to over communicate and also understand each person's personality. And I'm introverted. I'm talking and doing this. This is fine. I could do this. But when this is all over, I'm so introverted. So how would you know if I'm not in that mood to communicate and I just want to chill, Are you always going to be okay with me shutting down and just being in my little bubble and have the blankest face on, but I'm happy? Are you okay with that? And these are some of the things that communication is going to take center in any relationship at all, let alone a relationship with a third person. It's hard to communicate with one person as is. It's super hard for us to be on the same page and for us to even feel comfortable enough to express ourselves to the other person without feeling like we're walking on eggshells, let alone a third person. And don't want to make a mess in the house. I wonder what an argument in that household sounds like.
Yeah. You know what it reminds me of is shows like Sister Wives and those kinds of shows, right? Where they have they're sharing a partner. There's one man, and then he has all of these different women and families that he's dealing with, and I think that it's probably similar to that.
Yeah. Facts. All right, Nessa, what's yours? What's happening in the world of relationships that you're seeing?
So for me, I mostly help people with toxic relationships that have gone through toxic, unhealthy relationships. I don't throw the word narcissism around too much because it's too loosely used. And I feel like it's overused that if you get an emotional reaction, if you're upset, then people consider you to be one. And we all have traits of it. Okay. Let's just put it out there to begin with. Right. So for me, I think because of my experience and I'm able to recognize stuff and I've gone through severe training and experience and knowledge and stuff like that, I love this part of things. And some of the things that I hear mostly is the fear of leaving. How do you get out safely? How do you get out safely out of a toxic, unhealthy relationship, an abusive relationship? Like, what is your steps? What steps did you take to get out of it safely? So these are some of the conversation for the clients that I see mostly in the relationship world on my side of things, right? So I know I'm shifting things a little bit from where you had it before, but on my side, this is mostly what I hear about is they wanted to know how to get out.
Okay.
And because I know how dangerous it is about getting out safely, that's something that I encourage mostly. Your safety comes first.
All right.
Many people don't come out of those type of relationships safely. So that's something that I really hold dear to my heart.
Okay. So talk to us then, because there's somebody who's in that situation right now. Maybe if there's not somebody who's watching right now, maybe it's somebody who's going to see this show 6 months from now, because y'all know YouTube keeps them rolling, and they'll show this will pop up 2 years from now for somebody. So describe the situation, and then tell somebody out there how they should deal with that, and then Latoya, I'd love for you to chime in on this sort of thing. Go ahead.
Okay, absolutely. So to start off in a situation like this, right? This person is in a relationship and they're with their partner. It might be for a couple of years, months, whatever it is. But let's just assume this person is in a relationship, maybe a couple of years, and you have children. So this is our ideal person. You have children together, a house together, car together, and you're in this relationship and you're actually married to this person, right? When you're going through abuse, it could range from financial abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. And these are some of the things that you're experiencing, and you don't know that it's abuse until you're really realizing that you're being held against your will in certain ways. You don't have a voice. You don't have the right to verbalize how you feel, your concerns. And the emotional manipulation, the gaslighting is so heavy in the relationship that you don't trust your own instinct anymore. You don't trust your own gut feeling anymore. So now you're solely relying on the person that's actually abusing you to get clarity and direction from them, but they've already have you in isolation and separated you from your family and friends because that's how they're able to abuse you. And you think it's because of love and you cling so dear to them. So me knowing that, because I once was her, okay? So I understand it way too well that the level of abuse is that your finances is tied up with them, but they won't help you pay the bills. They'll sabotage your job, and destroy the things in the house. I've gone through these experiences, so I know this, a little bit more than the average, or some of us have gone through this. So when you're in situations like this, and your life is at stake, you have police involvement and stuff like this, it's very important that you come up with a safety exit plan. This is something that I feel like is very important to create, is a safety exit plan. So you want to ensure that you're creating a safe space to get out safely, because your safety comes first. One sudden move, and the moment that that person sees that they're no longer gonna have control over you, they will want to hurt you. And many times we see this come up on the news where they unalive themselves, the wife and kids, and everyone is gone because it was that fear of not having control, because the entire time it's just to have control over you. So I always am an advocate for those getting out safely, to create a safety exit plan and to start having these safe conversations with your children, but also seek professional help. And if you are in a situation, reach out to the domestic violence hotline. But the thing that I learned the most really going through this is you can't go back. You can, if you are in a situation like this, do not, and I'll say this right now. Normally I teach about this privately. Don't go to family members and friends that they know about, that you might think you're safe there, but if they're going to hurt you, they will find you at these places to hurt you. When you get out, you stay out. That's super important, that you create that exit strategy, you create that exit plan, and you stay out. The next thing I would recommend would be to start networking, you know, start building your community of people that you feel comfortable with. You feel safe with them. When you share things with them, it's kept confidential. Start networking and building that type of community so you can now associate yourself with those type of people. And then the next thing would be, if you need to seek legal counsel, then you need to seek legal advice for stuff like this. Because where finances is involved, you need to get help for that. Children is involved, you need to get help for that as well too. And whatever other things you have going on. So even start learning how to save, how to do financial planning and budgeting. These things are really important. And we don't think about these things really. But there's people out there that are going through stuff like this, and this is my baby. You know, I just know what it's like, and I just would love to help somebody get out of something like this. And even after you go through all of this, then you now need to execute that safety plan. And it's not over yet, because the next step is now to move forward and start the healing process.
Yeah.
So
That's
this
good.
is what I would leave with someone who wants to know more. This is something that is very personal and dear to me, because I have my own experience. And I was so grateful of how my timing was right. And there was plenty of times where I was uncomfortable to make the move, and I wanted to, but I knew I had to stay still. It wasn't the right time. My safety, it wasn't safe for me to leave. And this is some of the conversations that I do have on, like I said, with my clients, because of what I specialize in mostly. These are my conversations when it comes to relationship. They want to leave, they have financial ties with them, and they don't know what's the first step, what to do.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Maybe if somebody who's watching can grab that, the hotline number for domestic violence, and post that in there. I'll put it up on the screen, and because maybe there's somebody who's going to need to make a phone call to get some help. So Dr. Latoya, what's your thoughts on this?
Yes, what a good topic to talk about. This is one of those things that a lot of people don't talk about because it's something that they're dealing with in hiding, you know. There's a lot of shame attached to it. And they're embarrassed and they don't want people to know. And then also in these situations, oftentimes there's been repeated times that this has happened, right? And so if the last 4 times it happened, we ran to our family members and told them, then maybe this time it's a little more difficult to go out and say it again, because we feel like we're going to be judged because we're in the situation again. Like, didn't I tell you last time? That kind of a thing. And so I think it's always good for us to actually have these kinds of conversations and talk about these things openly. But the main thing that comes up for me is just really the healing piece of it and noticing the patterns, like you're saying, right? Because even the cycle of abuse, it's a cycle. It's predictable. We know what's going to happen next, right? And so it goes from the honeymoon phase where things are great and we just so in love, right? And they just shower us with all the affection and love that we need. And then it moves into the part where they start to be more possessive and start to maybe make threats, start to try to demean you, make you feel bad about things, start gaslighting. And then they blow up. And when they blow up, it can definitely feel like, see, this is why I don't want to be in this anymore. And this is exactly what I was always afraid of. I knew he was going to do this. I knew this was going to happen, right? And I'm never going to deal with this again. I'm getting out. And then that honeymoon phase comes back around. Baby, you know I didn't mean it that way. I'm sorry. You know, sometimes I just get mad. We've seen it in the movies, even if we haven't experienced it personally in our lives or in the lives of people around us. We've seen it happen on TV. We know the pattern. And so learning more about not only the pattern of the cycle between the two people, but also learning more about what's not being talked about, what's not being said, which for me, it goes back to those underlying emotional needs that are going on underneath it all. What kinds of needs is this situation fulfilling for me? You know, maybe I have insecurities around feeling, am I ever going to feel wanted by somebody? But this person makes me feel wanted. Maybe it's just sometimes, but they still make me feel wanted. So they're fulfilling a need for me. And so the more we can learn about the patterns of the behavior on our side, even if we are the person who was, you know, I don't want to use the word victim. So the survivor in this situation, we still played a role in it, right?
Mhm.
So learning more about the patterns of what we brought to the table into the relationship and how we may have been seeking certain things and let certain things slide. Noticing what we did is what's going to help us to not get back into the situation again. Because statistics say that when people leave an abusive relationship, they are so likely to get back into a different abusive relationship, and they don't see it coming. It's not all obvious, like, you know, they know from the first day. No, because it's the honeymoon phase at the beginning, and it seems so great. So it's so easy to kind of slip back into that again. And one more thing I'll say, this is also something that can be very multi-generational. A lot of women, specifically who grow up in environments where their mother was abused, they are more likely to get into relationships with someone who's abusive because that's what they're used to. And they equate that to love subconsciously.
Yeah.
So therapy, that's my answer. Therapy for healing, helping you to really learn more about all of this stuff. It can be so helpful in making sure you don't get yourself back into it again.
Yeah. Those are great, great answers. I just want to say that there's this also the part here that there are a lot of men who deal with abuse, and you know, you can't imagine how many men are getting slapped around and getting kicked or getting punched, you know, and in our society we are taught to just take it. You're a man, you're a guy. You don't whine, you don't complain. And who are you going to tell that your woman beats you up, slaps you around, blacks your eye? Who are you going to tell that to? You know, because you a lot of times, like, we're also raised to know, if you raise your hand back at her and the police show up, they're more likely to take you away because you're going to do the damage. And, you know, what seems like no damage to you becomes a lot of damage when it's on her. And, you know, you're more likely to go away. You're more likely to get more time in jail. You're more likely to get a record. You're more likely for things to go really bad. So, you know, if there's a man out there who is dealing with this sort of thing, you have to take ownership as well. I love what Dr. Latoya just said, that you have to ask yourself, how did I allow this situation? Because you did allow it. The first time somebody says, I should punch you in your face, right? People hit with their words before they hit with their fist. Okay, so it's in the language, and if a person will say it, they might do it, and after they do it, then what? And the first time you allow it to go by, and you don't do anything about it, you said, this is okay. I know, because I'm 6'3" and she's 5'4". There's some 5'4" firecrackers out there. And some of these women will slap the taste out of your mouth hard and really cause a lot of damage. And so if there's a man out there who is struggling with this sort of thing, I'm gonna put the hotline back up there. Look, maybe you need to call the hotline. Yeah. Maybe you need to get on this and on this domestic, you know, it's very confidential. It's, you know, nobody else is going to know that this is what's going on with you. But this is a place where you can get some help. Reach out to a therapist, reach out to a coach. You can inbox this show and you can inbox me, and I will help you in the areas that I can help you. That's my email right there. Shoot me an email and we will work through whatever needs to be worked through. If I feel like you need more than I am prepared to do, I got no problem with giving you a referral to a licensed professional therapist and helping you to get what you need out here in these relationship streets. So,
and I want to say one more thing on that. You know, it's it's important for us to also never blame the victim, right? But it is very important for us to take responsibility for our portion. You know, I have couples come in who say, well, my partner's 95% of the problem. And then I tell them, work on your 5%, because we all play a role. We all play a role. And so recognizing what our role is in working through the parts of us that are unhealed so that we can show up as a better person is separate from whatever's going on with the other person and how they're showing up. That's their stuff. Right. So taking accountability and responsibility for your own part in whatever it is, I think is the main thing. And then one more thing I'll say also, speaking on the men piece, yes, there are men who are being physically abused, and there's also a lot of men who are being emotionally abused.
Talk about that.
And so there's a lot of, screaming, threatening. There's a lot of blackmail. You know, these kinds of things that make someone feel unsafe, financially unsafe. You know, they're taking your money. They're threatening to take all your money. You know, these things, I think that we, as a society, we can turn a blind eye to these things and kind of think that these are just, this is just their relationship and that's just how they are. But we all have the right to feel safe in the relationship that we're in. Yeah. And that is physically safe. It's emotionally safe. It's safe all the way around. And so going back to the responsibility piece, if you're in a relationship and you don't feel safe with this person, you don't feel like you can trust them, you don't feel like they have your best interest at heart, these are the times when you really need to either get into therapy and see if you guys can work through these things and try to make some changes in the way that you're interacting, or get out of the relationship. Because it's not okay for you to just continue to not show up for yourself and continue to allow people to be abusive towards you, whether any type of abuse, but you're allowing it to happen by continuing to remain in it, just like you said. So,
well said. Well said. All right, look. So let's keep this train going here. I have a question from the inbox. They slide in my inbox, and good thing they saying the right thing in the inbox. Hallelujah. All right. Good afternoon, sir. I am dating this guy for 1 year now. Don't know his family, don't know where he stays, and he always tells me he will take me home, and he said he will come see my family, and I'm scared. Does he love me? Latoya, what do you think?
I mean, does he love me? That part right there, I think that's a question mark. I don't know. But based on the other things, it sounds like you have some expectations for what you two should be dealing with at 1 year. It sounds like, believe that you should know his family. You should know where he lives, but you don't. So my question is, have you had a conversation with him about this? How did that conversation go, if you did? And if he has said, for example, you have the conversation and he's like, no, I don't want you. I don't want to do that. I'm not ready for that. Then I think it's an important thing for you to pause and reflect on whether or not you want to continue in a relationship. If this is a need of yours and it's not being met, and this is an expectation of yours and you're vocalizing it and he's not willing to do it, then it just doesn't sound like you two are in the same space.
Yeah. Nessa?
For her to verbalize that, it's clearly a concern. If it's clearly a concern, because that's, like you said, that's something that's important to her. And she knows it's alarming to her, but she wants validation. So she's just asking for that validation to say what she already knows. She already knows it's alarming. She already knows it's going against her beliefs. It's going against everything that she knows and she wants, but she just wants someone else to say it to her because she don't want to mess up on this opportunity. And if you're not comfortable in it, is it really an opportunity?
Good point.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I'm concerned about the last statement. not the does he love me, the I'm scared. And my question really is, what are you scared of? Are you scared that this man's going to reject you? Are you scared to end up being alone again? Are you like why are you scared? She used the word scared. You know, what are you scared of?
She's not afraid. I didn't mean to cut you. I'm sorry, love. But she's not as afraid, and she's not scared of anything. She's scared because she knows it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she's afraid of.
She's scared of the truth.
Yeah. And I
that's
was
all she's afraid of. It's not anything else other than the fact that the illusion of what it is and coming off of that high, it's too much to handle. And she just is just hoping somehow that she'll get the validation that she's not overreacting and this is somehow real. But she's afraid of the truth because she knows that it's wrong. She wants to give in. She wants love so bad that this feels so good, even though it's wrong, but she don't want to make it right. So she needs validation to move forward.
Yeah.
I was going to say, when you were talking about the potential fears, I was wondering if maybe she's afraid that there's someone else. If maybe she's afraid that he's married, for example. That's what would come up for me. If I was thinking about this person who I haven't met their family and I don't know where they live, stuff like that, I think that would be a concern of mine. And so I wonder if the fear might be around that. I mean, which goes along with not knowing if it's real. I think that's probably part of it. But the other thing that I wanted to note on this is I like to tell people to think about the meanings of things, right? What does it mean to her that she doesn't know his family? Because that's how you get to the fear. You think about the meaning. And so really recognizing that what the meaning is for you, because the meaning that the meaning might not be the same thing for the other person. We don't really know what the other person's dealing with. We don't know why she hasn't been to his house and everything. I think that's what it said, right? She hasn't been to his house.
Yeah. She doesn't know why either.
Yeah. And that's where the conversation comes in. I feel like it's worth a conversation because just because we expect something and we think that this is how it's supposed to be. And a lot of people will say, well, it's obvious. Obviously, this is how. Everybody does not think the same.
Yes.
So that's where the dialogue comes in.
Look, I get that almost every time I do a reaction or a post about these. People are like, "Are you kidding me? Like, leave, girl." And it's like they say it in a way like, "Duh, why don't you know?" And somebody's probably sitting here watching this right now saying the same thing. Duh, don't you understand that he's probably got a wife at the house and what's wrong with you? Why would you be with a man this long and not know this and not know his family? And isn't it all obvious? Well, it's obvious to you because you're not in it.
Exactly.
But if you are in it and your emotions are connected and you want something, this man fills a space in your heart that makes you feel like somebody wants you. Finally, somebody desires you. Somebody wants to maybe make you a wife one day and he talking good and make you feel good. But there's just this one or two little issues that keep coming up in your head and you don't want to say anything about it because you don't want to mess it up. If you tell him you're upset about him not introducing you to his family, that might make him say, you know what? I'm glad I didn't introduce you to my family because you know what, you too pushy, and right. you're too much, and maybe we shouldn't. Maybe I did the right thing and not introduce you to my family, and it's like, oh no, I've messed it up. So, yeah. That's good. That's good. I got one more. Check this one out. Hi, Kelvin. We got to an argument with my boyfriend and I went no contact. Later, he called and when I told him we are incompatible, he started crying on the phone. What does this mean? Latoya, doctor, my man. crying on the phone.
Wait, hold on a second. Put that back up in there again. They got into an argument. She went no contact. Then he called, and then she said they were incompatible,
When
and
he
he started
called.
crying. I have so many questions. They got into an argument, and so they're not compatible because of the argument. And then, and they're not compatible, and she's determined they're not compatible, and she's ready to go no contact after that. And this is someone who's her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't understand why that sounds like a big jump from you're
Yeah.
my boyfriend to no contact.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he was pretty emotionally invested, right?
Yeah.
Because now he's crying. I don't know the concern with the crying, right? Because I mean, people cry. That's an emotion that everyone's allowed to have. Even men are allowed to be sad and cry. Is this an ongoing issue? Does he cry in general? Like, how long have they been together? If they've been together for 8 years or something like that, and I mean, I don't know. I think there's a lot of questions that I have in regards to this, but I have questions on both sides.
Yeah. That's a good start. That's a good start. Coach Nessa.
So I'm with you. Okay. I'm
You
100%
want to see it again?
I'm just so I'm thinking that compatibility would become before you make a relationship. No, like you want to find out if you're compatible with a person and if you're enjoying each other and if you guys are going somewhere first. Are we given a direction, or did we get into bed first? And then we're trying to back it up now to say, okay, this is not it, or this is not what I thought it was, right? And now you're like, I call this post-nut clarity. Is that what this is? Is that what this is? Like a post-nut clarity? You're like, yeah, this is not it. But what conversations are we having, prior to getting in bed with somebody? If that part of us is so precious and important, like, why aren't we valuing it and treating it as such? Just saying. Go ahead, Coach. Take it over.
So are you assuming that the reason he's crying is because he got wrapped up emotionally with the sex? Is that what you're saying?
It sounds sexually connected to me because she's saying that there's nothing else, but he might have gotten some connections out of something, because to label someone as your boyfriend or that's your partner, it takes more than just, hi, how are you? I like you, you like me. It takes more than that to really say that someone is your boyfriend. It takes more than that. And I feel like it was just premature, very premature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, it also feels like the breakup feels a little premature too. To go to no contact, once again, that's a big jump. Why is it no contact? How come it's not, we have a conversation, I talk to you about what's going on, maybe I still feel like we're not seeing eye to eye, so I really don't want to move forward with this relationship, but we're both understanding that that's what's happening, as opposed to just no contact. I mean, I'm just reading what it says, but it makes me wonder, that almost feels like ghosting.
Yeah.
I went no contact. Like, I'm not even going to tell you because we had an argument and so we're upset. But what is the boyfriend thinking is going on during this time? Oh, she's mad. We're going to be okay again. Sometimes we argue. I'm sure she'll call me tomorrow or whatever. And then to find out, no, we're not compatible. I no longer want to be in this relationship. I think that could have been very alarming for him.
Yeah.
Because there's more to it than that. There's more to it than that. We really know there's way more, especially, you just went no contact. You've been wanting to do this. There's something that's been irking your nerves, or there's an ick that you don't see yourself doing it. So you stir up an argument for an opportunity to ghost him, to now just blurt it out all at once. Because this is like she vomited up this information and put it together in this text. Because it's so much there that you could unpack, right?
Yeah, okay, with this argument that leads to no contact. Okay, what is this argument that you having that leads you to no contact? And so here's the this is the parameters that I give people for no contact. Okay, if this person is a danger to you, this person is causing harm, this person refuses to your when you told them this relationship is over, I don't want to hear from you. If you are clear on those things, like I feel like no contact is the final straw.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's it. The door is closed. Boom. To me, when you block I had somebody the other day telling me that they blocked this person, and the lady wanted to send one more message after she blocked the guy. She wanted to send him one more message to give him one more piece of her mind, and was asking me how does she do it. I'm like, you don't. Listen, in my mind, if you block me, we're done. Like there's no such thing as unblocking. If you block me, or if I have to block you, I am never speaking to you again. Okay, like we're done. And I think people take this whole blocking and no contact and all of it. How was this guy able to call you if you had no contact? Okay. So apparently you left some channels open, and then you had conversation with him after I thought it was no contact.
Yeah. That's true.
So for one thing, I feel like people need to stop playing games. Okay, if it's going to be no contact, no contact. If it's going to be, if you're going to continue the contact, let it be that, and work it out as you go. But for this guy to be crying, though.
Yeah, I want to hear you talk about that, Kelvin. From a man's perspective, talk about the crying piece.
Maybe this is why the no contact was necessary. Man, are you serious right now? Let me punch you in your chest. Come
How come
on.
he can't have emotions, Kelvin? How come he can't have emotions? What if this is the first time he's crying?
And listen, this reminds me of people who cry when you people who cry on camera, or you ever see people cry on social media, and it's like, dude, you cried and then hit the upload button. Are you serious? You hit send. You cried and then hit send. Come on, what are we doing? So I'm not buying that.
So what do you
If
think?
that was a booty call, why couldn't we just leave it as a booty call? Like it sounds like it was a good time because he enjoyed it clearly, but she probably was over it already.
Yeah. Latoya, what would you grade? What would you grade as?
Oh, I was asking you, going back to, because I was just watching a podcast today talking about men and emotions, and I feel like that's a topic that I constantly want to talk about. Men are allowed to have emotions, and so I'm wondering for you, as you're thinking about this situation, and all the information we have is written in that little blurb, right?
That's correct.
If we assume that this is not a pattern, that he doesn't cry all the time in front of her and everything, maybe that does happen. But if we just assume for a moment that this is the first time she's ever known him to be crying, do you still feel the same way about him crying?
I do. I feel like your emotions are displaced. I feel like you're crying because she told you it was over. And you're crying to her, not you're crying at all, but you're crying to her is a plea to please take me back.
Wow. Okay.
I can't. I need you. I want you. I love you. How could you? It's like, my man, pull back, reach down, open your zipper. Reach down and grab them. The good Lord gave them to you. Grab them and accept what is. Move on. If you're gonna cry, you have the right to cry. Turn the camera off, to hang up the phone, and boo-hoo your little heart out. And when you get done, go on about your life because this door has closed. And the
Okay.
longer you take to do that, the more manipulation that she has, the more advantage that she has. Your
Mhm.
crying gives her an advantage.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is your time to stop. Because look, that crying could be manipulation too.
Exactly.
So
That's what I heard in what you said. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree totally because you should never beg someone to be with you.
Mhm.
You should, if someone does not want to be in your life, you should be comfortable enough to accept that. Because you should, if you're begging them now to stay with you, you're constantly going to be begging them for the entire relationship,
That's a fact.
and that's control. You, it should be equal. I want to be with you like you want to be with me, and if you don't want to be with me now, it's gonna come up later on. So you know what? It hurts right now, but let me go. Let me go on
Yeah.
about my business. I'm going to take care of this healing because, like somebody said, sometimes we don't realize that we do need to heal, and we go out bleeding onto other people that did not cut us. So we bring that
Facts.
on, and we bring it on, and we bring it on, and it's unfair. We need to take care of our business so we can learn how to stand on business. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. My man James Bush, he said his dog could have died that day. The IRS could have took $15,000. None of those things happened. Come on. I wish I had my buzzer. Get my sound effects next time. Man, come on now. No, none of those things happened. There is enough information. She broke up with him. He cried. What else we need to know? He
I don't know.
cried to, and he didn't cry behind the scenes. He cried to her. So that tells you a little bit more about. That tells you all you need to know. He's trying to get some pity, some sympathy, and it's we're not doing that. We're not giving it. Not giving it. Not giving. And if she does give it, what does that teach him?
Yeah.
That's unattractive. I'm sorry.
Very.
It goes back to the no contact. If it's no contact, that's the boundary you set. That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Communicate it. I mean, if you can, unless it's something, safety, like you said, communicate it, but let it be what it is. And a lot of people do play with the blocking and unblocking, right? Sending the mixed messages. And so,
blocking,
Keep me blocked.
blocking.
Keep
Right.
me blocked. Please.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, you guys, y'all got any more last happenings, things that you've seen and things that need to be discussed on these platforms here that we need to cover?
I have one more topic that I feel like is important and happening often. That is the topic of infidelity in relationships. I know that's a big one to unpack right at the end, right? But that's something that so many people are dealing with, and a lot of people are dealing with it like I said, in secret, right? They're dealing with it on their own. Maybe there's a lot of shame and embarrassment to even admit it or acknowledge the signs that they see with it. And then let alone talk to anybody else about it. And then depending on the ties that the couple has to each other, if they have kids, if they own a home, if they're married, there's a lot of complications that can make it difficult to just leave him, girl, or just leave her, boy, whatever. And so just really recognizing that if someone is out there dealing with the effects of an affair, you don't have to deal with it alone. That's something that couples therapists help people with all the time. And there is healing that can happen on the other side of that. But it starts with both people being on the same page about rebuilding their relationship, and I like to tell people that trust, when trust is broken, it's like a brick wall getting knocked down. It has to be rebuilt brick by brick. It's not a fast process. There's going to need to be different types of boundaries and different types of conversations that need to be had so that everyone's on the same page about what we're doing going forward as we build a new relationship. And it's not as simple as, okay, just let it go. We already talked about it. I said, I'm sorry, let's move forward. It's not that simple.
No.
And
No.
so that's something that I help a lot of couples with, is affair recovery. And people sometimes will have situations happen like this, and they really are. I like to remind people that an affair is something that is it's an indicator that there's a problem going on in the relationship. Because this person has decided to step out of the relationship for whatever reason. And oftentimes it's reasons that are not being talked about. And so if we just point the finger at the person who stepped out and say, oh, well, you're the bad guy because you decided to step out of the relationship, instead of looking at it like, what was going on in the dynamics of the relationship that you didn't feel like you could come to me and talk to me about it? Why is it that we work through this without you making that decision? And it's not taking away the responsibility of the person who made the decision, but it is, once again, just looking at everyone's role. And so that's a big piece of it. And I wanted to just say that's something that is happening often. And it's been happening for decades. It's probably been happening
decades
of relationship. But you know,
thousands of years.
As long as we've been in relationships where that was the expectation. Right? Monogamy. So
you know, and that also like kind of brings the other point too, that some people are starting to have a conversation that monogamy isn't necessarily the way that we're supposed to be. Like if we're having this much trouble with monogamy and keeping it together in these ways, there's a lot of people having that conversation that maybe humans aren't meant to be monogamous. There's a lot of different conversations out there. One of the conversations I'm having with guys as we have these talks is I just say, well, look, be honest about what it is that you want, because a lot of this is that the guy, let's say I'm just talking about the guy for the moment, because women cheat too.
They do,
and women cheat better. They don't leave a crumb. men leave crumbs. Like we sloppy and just leave stuff here and there, and she just figured out easily. You know what I mean? You just laid it in her lap. But for women are very clean. You never even know that she even did anything, and clean as a whistle. Boom, where she supposed to be? When she supposed to be there? And you have no idea. She just got her back blown out. Okay. But so I'm having the conversation with the guys that just look, whatever it is that you desire out here in the world, there's somebody who wants that same thing. Find them and everything is smooth. Like whatever it is, you have to be honest enough to say what it is that you desire. If you desire to have a girlfriend and a wife, be man enough to just say it. Like, look, I have some other needs that I need to be taken care of, and whatever it is. And I'm not, before y'all get in my inbox, I'm not saying I'm not championing this. I'm not encouraging this. I'm encouraging honesty in whatever way that you need to express yourself. That makes this all work for you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Honesty is the way to go. And speaking of honesty, another angle of all of this is really looking at the patterns. Like I was saying earlier, if this is a relationship that's been going, a relationship or a marriage or something like that, where the people have been together for, let's say, 15, 20 years, and this is a repeated offense, it keeps happening. The person keeps stepping out of the relationship and cheating. There's a lot more healing that needs to really happen. Right. A lot more understanding of, why do I keep making this decision? Why do I keep saying I'm not going to do it anymore? I promise. And I really genuinely believe that I'm going to try so hard not to. And I keep ending up in the same situation. What is it about me that keeps getting me into the situation? Being honest. So
yes. Because there's a lot. There is a reason. No behavior exists unless it's being reinforced. That's what they taught us in psych class 101.
101.
Yeah. There's a reward in it. There's something in it for you. It's the reason you're doing it. So, Nessa, what you think?
So I'm gonna take it from a different perspective, okay? So let's take a look at the fact that and I'm gonna say men in this situation because I want to use it this way, all right?
How about you say women? Stop being all top of the men all the time.
Not for this one, and it's not a target. And I'm gonna say that only because I'm using the men as an example, but I'm speaking to the woman, if this makes sense, right? So that's why I want to take it this way, right? So motherhood. Women get caught up in motherhood and having to be a mother and forget to be a wife. And sometimes the husband can feel neglected because now the bedroom that once was for the man and the woman, husband and wife, there's a baby in the bed now. And mommy has separation anxiety and she does not know how to balance the two. And sometimes it's the PTSD and all these things that she's going through and experiencing. So there's a lot of changes that's going on in the relationship and the marriage, right? And now motherhood settles in and the husband gets neglected and he has to suppress his feelings because he's going to seem selfish if he expresses his needs because the baby is helpless. The baby needs help, right? So there needs to be a solution for that. And I can easily say, hey, let's balance between the two. You play your role. Likewise, I play my role as well, too, as the man and the woman. And we both take turns so that it's not so overwhelming, but also maybe have the baby sleep in the bassinet and, attend to your partner's needs as opposed to having the baby directly inside the bed. There's ways how we can go about, but there's certain things like this, like we said, that causes some of these issues. And it's where communication stops. Your needs are not being met anymore because now you're suppressing your feelings because you don't want to seem selfish. So here goes the work spouse that's fulfilling this need. It's giving a listening ear and things shift. Or here's this friend or this person that you've been watching or eyeing for a while that might have the time and they're single. So there's quite a few things. And that's why I chose that scenario only because it's both people. And I said the man only because I wanted to speak to us ladies that we have to remember to continue to be wives. We have to find a way how to balance. We need to have that balance and create calendars or schedule or something where we have date nights and we dress up and we sexy up for our partner because we want to keep that romance going. We want to keep that spice going in the relationship so that our partner does not feel neglected. I'm not saying to overwork yourself and burn yourself out. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that keep the spice going, keep the entertainment going. And if you need to have conversations where, hey, hun, if you help me with some of these things around the house and we do this, like break it down and have these hard conversations before it gets swept underneath the rug for too long. And by the time you know it, you guys are sleeping in separate rooms in the house. And then you end up with Dr. LaToya.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, come and see me before it gets to that point. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And that's the other side of it, right? What is it? How am I contributing to it? How am I contributing to it? Everybody plays a role. All right. And it is so important for both people to continue to show up in the relationship.
Yes.
We all have needs, right? And when our partner's not meeting those needs, whether it be sexual needs or whether it even be needs like saying something positive or giving a compliment, I do hear that from men a lot that, my wife hasn't said anything positive to me. And so she's wondering why I walked past the girl at the coffee machine and she said, "Oh, I like your pants." And all of a sudden now I'm wondering, do I want to go with her? And so really realizing that we have to continue to show up in the relationship. So I definitely agree with that.
That's a fact. Yes. Coach Nessa, was there a topic that we're talking about what's happening in the world of relationships? Is there one that you have before we get out of here? Maybe there's something that's on your mind that you want to bring to the table.
I think we touched on quite a few things and we touched on a lot. but I'm not hearing about the love. Like love does exist, right? I think we're shifting away from true love or experiencing love. And like Dr. Latoya said earlier, doing that work. A lot of healing that needs to get done behind it. So it all comes full circle, healing, to recognize that instead of someone saying like, I'm never going to love again, I'm never going to get in a relationship again, like even Jennifer Hudson and, Common, those kind of situation is that, do you love yourself enough to experience love again? Because love didn't hurt you. The person pretending to love you hurt you, not love. Love didn't do anything to you. Love is free. As a matter of fact, it's kind, it's patient. So introducing back love into our community, I feel like that's something that's not talked about enough because everyone is leading with their fear, their hurt and their pain. So love is getting swept underneath the rug when in reality, if we lead with love, we'll be more caring and loving and kind to each other. So that's a topic that I would love to see more of, those kind of conversations, because I feel as if we're too bashful and hurtful towards one another when in reality, the fight is not against each other because we do need each other. So I feel like we're dividing and we're going so further apart from each other, not realizing how much we do need each other. And now, you know what? I'm gonna talk to my home girl. And every time she's available to whine and listen to me whine and go on, but she's never checking me and correcting me and saying, hey, no, get yourself together, get your act together. Now you're wrong. But she's comforting me and providing that listening ear. Eventually, we're laughing together, we're having a drink, we're rubbing titties together or something, right? By the time you know it, I'm actually liking you, And then the other side, talking to your homeboy, and by the time you on his shoulder crying, and it's like, ooh, I like that. So now we're going with the same sex, the same gender, instead of really getting to the root cause of the issue, healing, taking care of our traumas and going within and taking care of some of these issues, as opposed to creating all of these gender wars and stuff like that. So I would definitely love to see more love in our community and having that love type of conversation, if you would ask me.
Yeah. That's good. And I think that the love conversation has to start with you. Do you love you?
Self-love.
Self-love is everything. It's the foundation. You can't love anyone unless you love yourself, like properly. You really can't. You can't pour from an empty cup. And so I think it's upon each person to invest in filling their own cup, not expecting someone else to fill your cup. Fill your own cup. And yes, you can't fill your whole cup by yourself. Yes. So, you pour some in and top their love tank off. They top yours off, and everybody ends up getting what they want. But if you show up with an empty cup, asking me to fill your cup, it's like, well, wait a minute. If I fill your cup, I won't have anything left. Okay. And so I think we need to intentionally fill our own love cups so that we have love to give. We have space to give. We have the place that we can add that to the person that we choose to love.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
I agree.
That's the self-love is self-empowerment. If the person comes to you and you fill their cup, then it just reinforces that they can't fill it on their own. Right. So that's the other side of it. And so I always tell my clients, you got to show up for you. It's not anyone else's responsibility to take care of your emotions. It's great if they can help, but it's not their responsibility. It's your responsibility to stand up for yourself, to speak up for what you need, and to not let the thoughts of, but if I say this, they're going to judge me, or if I say this, they're going to think I'm selfish. Not letting those thoughts prevent you from speaking up for yourself.
Mhm.
right? Because that's really what drives a lot of it, is the unhealed parts of us that never get heard. They didn't get heard when we were little kids, when we said we needed something from our parents and they didn't show up for us in a way that actually helped and healed. And it's something that we carry from relationship to relationship, expecting other people to fill the cup and then feeling terrible about ourselves when they don't do it.
Mm, that's a
So
fact.
one thing I like to remind people is, abandonment is a big fear for people. I don't want to be abandoned. We can't be abandoned when we're adults, but we
Mm,
can abandon ourselves.
that's good. That's good. We can't be abandoned. We have fear of abandonment, but we can't be abandoned as an adult.
Mm-mm.
But we can abandon ourselves. That's good. I might have to clip that.
I actually like it. I really
Yeah.
do, because as an adult, you're responsible for yourself. So yeah, right. Whoa.
Right. Yeah. Who
Yeah.
can
Said that.
abandon you? Who
They
can
can't,
abandon
yeah, if
you?
they walk away, they just walked away. They weren't responsible for making sure you ate. Right? So, yeah, but we can and we do abandon ourselves all the time. Abandon our needs, abandon our desires, not speak up for ourselves, making sure that everybody else is taken care of and we're not worried about ourselves being taken care of. Those are all examples of abandoning ourselves.
Mm,
And we got to stop that if we want to
yeah.
get that healing place.
That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. Coach Nessa, tell the folks where they can file. Give us your last little wrap up of the happenings in the world of relations. Give us the good wrap up, and tell us how we can follow your work, and if you got something to pitch, you're on.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was definitely a pleasure hanging out tonight. You guys are awesome. I learned a lot. Conversation was really good and I enjoyed it. I'm on all social media platforms, mainly on YouTube and TikTok at the moment, for relationship coaching, personal development, and success coach, which I want to see you successful. I would love to see you accomplish everything that you want to do, right? But sometimes the challenges and struggle, and you're fighting with your own self, trying to figure out what is it and how to go about doing it and where to turn and how do you get answers. I'm your person. You could definitely reach out to me to have these discussions, mostly relationship. If you're not even certain if you're in a toxic, narcissistic, or unhealthy relationship, tune into some of the information on my page, on my YouTube channel, or even on my TikTok. I show some of my personality on TikTok, and I'm very comfortable letting you guys know that I'm that person. I went through these things as well too, and I show the healing on my page. The name is Healing Your Silence. The spelling is HealenYurSilence. Healing Your Silence. If you could type it in for me, I'll appreciate it.
Yeah, just drop it in the private chat,
In
and
the
I'll put it
chat, let me see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Type
Let
it
me
in
see if I
there.
can go ahead and type it. Okay.
All right.
Yes,
Latoya, Dr. Latoya, give us your good wrap up, and let us know how we can follow you, and if you got something to give, something to pitch, you're on.
Yes. Well, first, I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me on here. I just love talking about relationship stuff. All things sex and relationships, that is my jam. So I could talk about this stuff for hours. I just appreciate hearing both of your perspectives as well on all of these topics. So thank you both for being here sharing. And I can be found at the Couples Wellness Spot. And I am on IG. That's my most active platform. And I do a lot of speaking engagements. So I have an upcoming speaking engagement. If you are local to the Atlanta area, I am doing a speaking engagement this Saturday. That is for Mocha Moms. It's called Celebration of Black Love. And so if you want to get out and do a date night with your partner and you want to come out to see us, we're going to be out in Alpharetta. And I will actually, the information for the registration is going to be on my page on Instagram. In addition, I'm also doing a fair recovery workshop. So we were talking a little bit about infidelity and in recovering from affairs. And if you are interested in getting more information on that, please send me a message on Instagram and I can tell you more information on that.
All right. And Dr. Latoya, if you would go ahead and drop your link or your name of your thing, so I can put it on the screen, put it in the private chat.
Yeah.
And I'll put it on the screen so it'll be nice and big where everybody can see and follow. Yes, and you guys, the book is still available. Let me. I'm gonna blow it up so you can see it. Yes, Secrets of the Mind of a Man: How Men Think When It Comes to Dating, Relationships, and Love. The link will be down below in the info there. You need this book. You need to have that book in your hand. I gave up the game in that book. All the different scenarios about how men think. Why did he do the thing he did? What attracts men? How do I know? I answered the question. How do I know if a man sees me in his future? I would get these questions over and over, so I decided to put them all in a book. And you can get that book. It is available on Amazon, or you can click the link in the bio below, and you can get it from there. All right, this is Latoya's link, Dr. Latoya's link. All right, copy right there, and I'm gonna drop it over here. Yes, you guys can check her out. I'd love for you to go in and let her know that you saw the show. You saw her here on the show. This is her on Instagram at the Couples Wellness Spot. I am on Instagram as well. My Instagram is, you can catch me at Love Coach Atlanta on Instagram, or Kelvin Troy Johnson on Instagram. Everywhere, Kelvin Troy Johnson, and lovecoachatlanta.com is the site that you can see everything that's going on. So, well, I appreciate everybody for coming in and being a part of the show tonight. Thank y'all so much. Y'all rock. Y'all, listen, you have no idea what happens with these shows. You have no idea what happens next. And, I'm glad to be a provider of this content for someone who is going to need it. And we have no idea who will. So I hope everybody will reach out to these coaches. And these are real coaches. These are real therapists, real people. Not some of the people that's on some of these platforms who just did the thing and now they ready to teach it. These people have some time and some experience, so you definitely want to lock in with them. All right, y'all. Till next time, show up next Monday as well. When y'all see the clips come out, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button at wherever you're watching this. I'd love for you to go to YouTube and hit the like button, because all the shows will be on YouTube. So check it out on YouTube. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Peace.